Dr. Olaleko Fadolapo on Tuesday. So this Wednesday we'll be taking the reaction from the Advertisers Association of Nigeria, ADVAN, and to do this with us is the Executive Secretary and the Chief Executive Officer of that association, Ediri Ose Ediale, who joins us now virtually. Good morning and welcome to Kakaki, the African Voice.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Good morning. Your smile this morning, it's nice to have you on the program. Let's quickly get your reaction, to this issue, which my colleague has already given a background to. What is the reaction from your body?
Oh, first of all, I would like to introduce who we are so that people understand why we have a comment on the ban. Advertisers Association of Nigeria is the only association the only umbrella association for advertisers in Nigeria. And by advertisers, we mean brands, organizations, whether SMEs or multinationals, that utilize marketing and advertising to promote their goods and their products. Advertisers Association of Nigeria, key objective for us is to support the profession of marketing as well as the business of marketing as a very useful tool for business growth. So our thoughts on the ARCON ban essentially is to say, yes, Advertisers Association of Nigeria supports any policy on local content, local talent, and the growth of local businesses. However, we do not support a ban on foreign participation because this creates a wrong perception of the nation and does not at the same time provide solutions for the challenges which are in advertising, which are causing a decline in advertising spend. So that is why we are calling on ARCON and asking ARCON that you need to rethink a ban. There are several issues and factors that are instigating a decline in advertising spend in Nigeria. It is simplistic to assume that just one solution or just one group within the ecosystem is the cause of the problem. And that is why we're saying, let there be a more comprehensive research to find a viable solution to support local businesses, not a ban. Supporting local businesses and also encouraging foreign participation in our economy are not mutually exclusive items. They can be mutually achieved. So ADVAN is saying that the ARCON ban does not provide a solution, is not well researched, and cannot in its totality support local businesses.
Cannot in its totality support local businesses, but ARCON, I believe, would have done its research to understand that there's this crave really in Nigeria, not just about models and artists, voiceovers, on advertisements really, but the fact that there's a general crave really by Nigerians for foreign things, foreign wares, foreign shoes, and now in the media space and advertising space, foreign voiceovers and foreign models, as if we've not got models here. So what do you think? And ARCON is also saying that he's doing this in line with the government's position on supporting and establishing local content involvement in all of this. Are we saying that there's no good models really or voiceover that are good from the Nigerian brand that you can actually take in? So I know that some Nigerians actually speak like those people you import from abroad to do these voiceovers. Your take? So
absolutely, ADVAN recognizes our local talents and supports our local talents. That's not what ADVAN is saying at all. Our position is this, that there are issues in the advertising industry that is causing a decline, and that is causing the fact that local talents are not maybe being utilized as they should be. Now, what are the issues? We should address those issues holistically as an industry, and rather than picking certain items and looking at that as a solution. Advertisers, if you watch the advertisements on television, you will notice that advertisers, which are the brands and organizations, have embraced local content holistically. I dare say that foreign participation is at a lower percentage than local content right now in advertising. However, there are different organizations, there are local businesses, there are multinational businesses that have different communication strategy. And that is why you see some of them utilizing foreign models or foreign locations to shoot their adverts. However, the first thing we would like to identify, or the first thing we would like to point out, is that what are the challenges in advertising industry that is impacting these local businesses? The challenges are numerous, but I would like to itemize a few of them. One is multiplicity of taxation and multiplicity of regulation. The advertising industry and advertisers are inundated with regulation and taxation. A more effective regulatory system, which is inclusive of stakeholders, will be more beneficial in attracting growth. We need to also support the talent in the advertising space. Advertising practitioners need capacity development. I dare say that one of the first commitments of ARCON should be capacity development, not a ban. We do our local talents and our models a disservice if we do not equip them to compete in global spaces. We see global feats being done by Nigerians. We saw Toby Amusan. We see models like Oluchi in the global space. What we should be doing is empowering these local talents to compete. The music and the movie industry is celebrated not just locally but internationally. That's what advertising should be doing for its local contents. We also have a deficit of data in which advertising budgets are based on. And I'm putting this out there to give a holistic view of the challenges. Brands will not commit more naira into advertising. They will if they cannot find commensurate value. ARCON, as a regulatory institution, should support the acquisition of relevant data to support marketing spend. And finally, in putting out some of the challenges advertisers are facing, is to understand that there's an economic downturn in Nigeria which affects brands. Brands are not insulated from the challenges of the economy. That is why increasingly marketing professionals are called to justify every naira that is spent on marketing. Goes back to my call for support in provision of data. So these are the challenges. These are the reasons why there's a decline in advertising spend in Nigeria. And this is why it also cascades down to the models and to the voiceover artists. They are not the most salient issue as a challenge. It's just that the totality of the challenges cascades and affects them. My final thoughts on this, or my final word on this, is the percentage of use of foreign models is far less than the use of local talent. You can see that the way brands utilize influencers and models in Nigeria. So putting that in place is to understand that even if we as a nation are looking for increased representation, local representation, what is our cultural representation policy as a nation? If we have a cultural representation policy as a nation, it can cascade down to the various ministries, and each one has a part of which they can implement. We support local businesses. Advertisers support local talent, and any policy that is well researched will also put our full weight of advertisers behind. However, what we say is this particular ban is not a solution. It's a simplistic approach to a very complex situation.
All right. You mentioned, just not too long ago, that Nigeria seems to be in some form of economic, facing economic challenges. Would you allow these, ban and to see how this will help? Because many say we're taking the money that Nigeria does not have right now, we're taking it out to shoot, building the economy of other countries or paying other persons, while we can actually pay our own Nigerian, voiceover artists and, models. Do you think that this should be given, a trial to see whether it will work? Is your body also considering allowing this ban maybe for a while before coming up maybe for a review?
My response to that will be that Nigeria has an expatriate policy, as in participation of foreigners in Nigeria. That means there are provisions in our law that allows for foreign participation in Nigerian economy, whether it's trade or whether it's employment. So, I mean, the expatriate is particular geared towards employment, and foreign models are employees or employed in particular organizations. Now, this particular ban goes against that constitutional provision. And why we need to be extremely careful is because Nigeria has a significant percentage of its citizens seeking foreign income and trade. Nigeria itself, a growing economy, is one that has always encouraged foreign investments and foreign investors. It negates our position as a society that welcomes this if we in turn create a ban of this foreign employees or foreign participation. Nigeria must be careful of the reprisal actions that may come as a result of this ban. It may be formal, where there may be certain bans against Nigerians, and may also be informal, where the sentiments of foreigners about Nigeria is negative. And this will not be only for the advertising industry. It will cascade to all other industries where Nigerians and Nigeria plays in, whether it's the movie, whether it's the movie industry, whether it's the music industry. Nigeria must always present itself as an enduring economy for foreign support because we have been beneficiaries of this support. We are already battling with a myriad of negative connotations about our nation. Be presenting a profile of a non-reciprocatory nation it will be counterproductive. And I would also say this. As much as our citizens are looking for opportunities outside Nigeria, please understand that Nigeria is also seen as a land of opportunities for other countries. Are we saying that benefits that Nigerians have enjoyed in these capacities, they cannot also offer to other people? So what we are saying essentially is that the statement of a ban of foreign models is counterproductive for a country like Nigeria that is even part of the African Continental Free Trade Agreement. It goes against Nigeria's agreement in that capacity. Do we want to support local businesses growing? Absolutely. Do we want to have a cultural appropriation and representation in our communications? Absolutely. But it should be holistically strategized and cascaded down to the relevant industries, and then that there's a proper, well-researched implementation of this. Nigeria and Nigerians should be careful that it does not whip up negative sentiments by foreigners. There was a press release on one of the foreign media where they said Nigerians have banned white models. Why did they say this? Because they are telling you that it is difficult for you to differentiate in black Nigerian from other African countries. And essentially, they're telling you that the only way that you can differentiate a Nigerian model is if the Nigerian model is not white. And we are here as blacks, we're talking about racism, we're talking about inclusivity, we're talking about the fact that Africans are being shortchanged. And we as a country, we want to promote a ban. We do not think that that is the solution, and we do not think that that will be beneficial to the talent. I would reach out to the talents in Nigeria, especially the Muslims and the voiceover, to say Nigerian government will serve you better if they can create a platform for you to play on a global level. What you need is support. I mean, you need revenue support, access to funding, so that you can have the technology, so that you can have the training and the capacity you need. One, to offer value to the brand in Nigeria, and then also to compete favorably in the global economy.
All right, a simplistic solution to a complex problem, you said. So let's let's paint this scenario and see you respond to that, and also find out what you would do if you are in ARCON's shoe to take a decision on this. A company, which is a foreign company, so to speak, establishes in Nigeria, being patronized by Nigerians, getting, probably, a support and a buy-in into their products from Nigerians, right? And then this same company goes outside the country, probably where it comes from, to produce the adverts and do all the shootings, and then brings it back to us here again to play back and still spend our money on that. So this is the kind of scenario where we're talking about. It doesn't promote inclusive growth and secular economy. So if Nigerians are the ones that are patronizing the company, why shouldn't companies like that also use Nigerian models and artists for their adverts? Why shoot adverts outside the country and then bring it back for us here to consume? So if you are in the shoe of ARCON, how would you address this matter instead of a ban?
First of all, I will not address it with a ban. I will bring stakeholders together to find out the best solution. And let me say this. All of us, we're sitting down here, having this chat. There are so many things that are foreign, that are not localized in Nigeria, whether maybe it's the material you're wearing, or the microphone you're using, or the phone you're using, or the laptop you're using, that is not made in Nigeria. It is an indictment on us in the totality as Nigerians and as the Nigerian government. The solution to this, it does not reside with the private sector alone, and it doesn't reside with a ban. There is something that advertisers talk about. When I talk about the fact that they have to justify every spend, is that they are looking for things that are unique and of value, and a fraction of cost, because marketing costs are being cut down daily. Now, if advertisers want value for their money, and unfortunately, the systems we have in Nigeria do not offer that value, what are these advertisers or brands expected to do? These are not charity organizations. They have investments in Nigeria that will run into billions. They are looking for value for their money. Does Nigeria have the systems and structures to provide this value? That is a question we all need to answer. And that is what ARCON, that's the answer that ARCON should be looking for. I can assure you that no business that can find commensurate value in its local markets will go abroad to shoot. The technology available to us in Nigeria needs improvement. The quality of personnel in the advertising space, as advertising practitioners, they need support in capacity development. Are you asking that brands should be the ones to develop the Nigerian economy? The brands and the organized private sector are already a significant contribution to the nation's GDP. What the organized private sector can do is to support any initiative of the government. If we do not have structures and systems that provide quality, then it's an indictment on us as a nation. We have so many products coming in from China that are cheaper than the Nigerian versions. If you ban those products from coming in, it will affect the whole nation. So what should the approach be? Do not put the cart before the horse. Let us provide support to these systems, and then we can now encourage more patronage and support from brands. Do understand that these organizations work in different markets, and they have a unified or global strategy in their communication. They will look for the best avenue, they'll look for the best location that can provide a qualitative, creative communication outputs at a good cost. Are they to be faulted for doing that? Absolutely not. All of us seated here, we have one item or the other, whether it's our vehicle, whether it's our phones, whatever it is, that are not made in Nigeria. If you are asked today that explore the Nigerian option, is there a Nigerian option? Is there a suitable Nigerian option? That should be the first question. And that is why we said the ban in itself was not comprehensively researched. The reason why brands are utilizing some foreign options should be investigated. The reason why there's a decline in advertising spend, I've talked about multiplicity of taxation, I've talked about insufficient data, I've talked about the need for capacity development and the general economic downturn. Those things should be investigated. We cannot just say we ban this. We as a structure and as an economy and as a nation, should put the relevant systems in place so that our brands can utilize it, and even we attract more better foreign investments through this.
There are some persons will get the sense that ADVAN and ARCON may be working at cross purpose, especially in terms of its regulations. But let's get your position on the indebtedness of Hyatt Kenya to the Mainsail Media Limited. What's your position? How do you see that issue? The issue of indebtedness.
So Hyatt is a member of an Advertisers Association, a very respected member. And I will say this, that Hyatt and Mainsail have had interactions over the years. We talk about a contentious amount of 400 million, but realize that Hyatt, in its dealings with Mainsail, had paid over 3 billion in media spend purchase. At a point in time, this particular contract that is in contention, it came to the notice of Hyatt that there is impropriety and there's fraud concerning this. And Hyatt reported the matter to the authorities, EFCC, to investigate the issue. I gave that as a background to explain that Hyatt is in no way trying not to just pay or just, be unnecessarily difficult. There is an issue. An investigation of fraud or a conversation about fraud is a serious issue. What we expect ARCON as a regulatory institution is not to begin to demand ultimatums, but to support the investigation. So whichever party is found culpable will be brought to book. We have spoken against ARCON's meddlesomeness in corporate contractual agreements. Advertisers and their vendors and their agencies are legal private entities and should be guided by their contractual stipulations and agreements. If there is a contravene on the agreement, it should be positioned before the appropriate constitutional authorities. ARCON, as a regulator, is overreaching in its regulatory powers if it seeks to mediate or determine the outcome of an ongoing investigation. I will also add that stating that Hyatt, as a respected organization in Nigeria, has an investment, a factory built in Nigeria of over $200 million. That is not an organization that 400 million naira is a challenge for it. There has been a report of impropriety, there has been a report of fraud, and it has been put before the appropriate authorities. We call on ARCON to allow the law to take its course. As a regulatory, do not try to usurp the powers of a judicial system or a law enforcement agency. All
right. Ediri, as a regulator, we understand that a regulator shouldn't overreach, or go above their, stipulated rules. But we also do know that we had ARCON chairman here yesterday who also talked about this issue, and he said that at the moment, because of the mediation, they are already moving forward, and that the company in question, it has already even apologized for not communicating early enough, and they are moving forward. So from your stand now, it would seem as if you're, like Ehizo said earlier, working across purpose with ARCON in its dealings to ensure that there's peaceful resolution of this matter.
Mediation in terms of bringing the two parties together to see, find out what the issues are, is absolutely acceptable. What ADVAN says is unacceptable is a notification of an ultimatum that was put forward by ARCON, giving Hyatt 7 days ultimatum to pay. They cannot pay when there's a dispute in that contract. Yes, there has been conversations after that publication was released, and the two parties have actually met. However, the organization Hyatt and Advertisers Association of Nigeria is saying that whatever resolutions or whatever conversations we're having, the authorities in charge of dispute resolution will still investigate the matter fully and come up with their findings. We are not against ARCON in bringing the two parties together, having a conversation with them to see how fast and how smooth waters can be mended. What we are against is the ARCON ultimatum telling Hyatt to pay. ARCON does not have the constitutional power to determine the outcome of an ongoing investigation that has been put before a law enforcement agency, which is EFCC in this case. And we are asking ARCON that they should remain as an unbiased regulator that is seeking sanity and order in the industry, and it should not be seen to have a biased stand when there is a contractual dispute.
All right, I think we just have to leave it at that. Diwi Ose Diale. I'm sure there's so much fireworks that happens each time ADVAN and ARCON. Maybe when they sit to meet. I mean, those two bodies. I think you guys need to work more closely. Regulatory issues on one side and the issues of the practitioners. Well, the regulators will always be regulators, but I think ARCON and ADVAN, you people need to maybe sit more often or speak together so that we can have these issues resolved on the table.
Maybe she should be speaking on whether they are reaching out apart from this media space. Is there a reach out from ADVAN, your body, to act on these issues, on how you can sit at a table and discuss these issues?
Absolutely. I would like to say that ADVAN has been very collaborative with ARCON over the years. We have different committees that ADVAN supports ARCON on. As the CEO of the Advertisers Association of Nigeria, I've had different occasions where I have represented ADVAN on ARCON, and not just me. The president of ADVAN and other executive councils of ADVAN are very supportive of the programs of ARCON, and that is now ARCON. We have been supportive over the years. However, we have a duty to our members and even to the larger community of Nigerians to call out an anomaly when we see that. We will call for further engagement with ARCON. We will seek collaboration. We will ask for collaboration in terms of policy creation. Our regulators should embrace their stakeholder communities in policy creation. The expertise resides with the stakeholders, and it should be a holistic engagement. And ADVAN is absolutely supportive of this, and we have been supportive of ARCON over the years. I can count several committees and several collaborative platforms that we have worked on with ARCON on. But unfortunately for this issue of the ban, we do not agree with it. We feel it is not very well researched. Even in its execution, are you saying that all adverts that are foreign are banned from Nigeria? Are you saying that if I am a Nigerian and I do not reside in Nigeria, because the ban is saying supporting local business, are you saying that I cannot be on a Nigerian advert? Are you saying that organizations that have footprints in other countries aside Nigeria that want to depict these other countries outside Nigeria will now essentially have to still use Nigerian models, which means that ARCON is essentially regulating creativity of brands? Are you saying that? Do you know that there are some foreign products and foreign services that advertise on local stations like yours? These organizations do not reside in Nigeria, but they understand that Nigerians in their communities, whether it's Europe, whether it's Asia, consume Nigerian media. So what do? They put their products on local Nigerian media to get to their target. Are you saying that all those adverts are banned? We are calling on ARCON to have a holistic, well-researched approach in the issues of the decline of advertising spend, and we are ready to support them in finding that solution.
All right, a very perfect way to end the discussion, even though it is an ongoing one.